We've seen quite the pullback in the market recently. The SP 500 is down about 5% today alone. The worst trading day since COVID. Yes, you heard that right. Today was an absolute bloodbath and the bleeding just does not stop. I've never seen so much uncertainty in the market. When it comes to the Fed's policy as well as tariffs that were announced today, I want to break those tariffs down and what it means for the market going forward. How am I adjusting my portfolio? And as an investor, how should we play the market for the rest of 2025? Look here at the SP 500 down over 5% today alone when you consider after hours movement. Year to date, we're almost down 10%. And when you take a look, we peaked around February 19th. And since then, it's been pretty much straight down since. Like I said, uncertainty is sky high and the market doesn't know how to price in these tariffs. You even have companies that are not affected by tariffs at all. They don't import any goods from other countries. Look at SoFi, Robinhood, Tempest, many other names that are not related to tariffs at all, just getting slaughtered because of the overall market conditions. You also have people throwing around the R word, yes, recession. There has been a lot of talk about a possible recession that could come from the trade wars. And how this happens is these companies can't afford to source or produce products domestically, so this leads to layoffs, which leads to high unemployment, which leads to a recession. All it takes is 2 negative quarters of GDP growth to be considered a recession. Now, me personally, I am not confident this will happen. I don't think we're heading towards a recession, and honestly, I believe some of these tariffs are just a bluff and is a method of making a deal with other countries to lower their tariffs or come to a middle ground. Most of the fear with these tariffs is we go into a global trade war, and that would be awful for our economy and the stock market. And you can look at our portfolio. You have Tempest AI down 7%, HIMS down over 10%, Tesla down over 5%, Robinhood down 10%, and Rocket Lab down over 7%. As you see, the fear and greed index is at extreme fear, and it's been on the left side of this chart for a while now. Like I said, we're down over 12.5% from all-time highs for the SP 500 index. The NASDAQ is a whole different story. The NASDAQ is down about 16% from its all-time highs and continues to go lower. After these tariffs were announced, a lot of White House officials were saying that they are non-negotiable, and Trump is not looking to negotiate. But then you have Donald Trump, the president himself, go on and say, I'm open to negotiations on tariffs if we get some phenomenal offers. I think Donald Trump is really trying to get some deals, get tariffs lowered for the US, and fix our trade deficit. But only time will tell, and that is the big problem with the market right now is the high level of uncertainty. The market hates uncertainty. On the bright side, you do have the US 10-year Treasury dropping down. This is very important when it comes to refinancing our debt. The end goal with these tariffs, in my opinion, is to bring lots of new jobs to the United States, lots of manufacturing back to the United States, as well as bringing mortgage rates down and making the cost of living more affordable. Will these tariffs do the job? And will we work with other countries to make deals? I'm not sure, only time will tell. Now I want to talk to you guys about what I'm doing for the rest of 2025 and how I'm positioning my portfolio. And this is going to sound cliche. This is going to sound like a broken record that I've said a million times, and I am simply just buying more. That's what I do. I dollar cost average every week. You can never time the bottom. You can never time the top. Yes, there's a lot of uncertainty and stocks are down right now, but that is a time to be buying. Years from now, this will be looked at as a golden buying opportunity. Yes, I know that we can go lower. However, I'm not worried about that. I'm adding as much as I can afford each week to my portfolio, as well as selling covered calls, collecting the premiums, and reinvesting it back into my portfolio, which grows my portfolio much faster that way. However, I am going to start being a little more cautious with my covered calls because if we do reach a bottom soon, I do expect us to bounce back relatively quick just because of how cheap and oversold some stocks are, in my opinion. By some miracle, we are still green year to date. I credit that a lot to Tempest AI and HIMS and HERS. We were up a lot more over here, but being green year to date, I cannot complain. A lot of this has to do as well with selling covered calls. What have I been buying recently? Well, I've been loading up on Hood shares as well as Tesla. Now, if we do enter a bear market, I do expect for Hood to take a beating due to its cyclical nature. But that would be the time to be buying even more. I still want to dramatically increase my Hood position from here, so I'm not worried about it going lower. As a matter of fact, I would love for it to go lower. That way my money gets me more shares. That's really what I wanted to talk about today, guys, is what I'm doing in this crazy, hectic market right now. There is so much chaos. There is so much panic. That is the time to be buying. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below about what you're doing in this market. Are you guys buying more stocks? Are you sitting on your hands? Or are you selling out of some positions and taking some off the table? I'd love to hear from you guys. And remember, there is a link in the description for my Discord where we can chat more and talk more about the overall market conditions. As always, I really appreciate you guys watching and taking the time out of your day to watch my video. Take care of yourself, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.